there, Hannah Jones from Guy from Farm here. Hope you're all well. Ever since Dean and I bought Guy from Farm back in 2020 and opened a hospitality business, I've been really interested in what we can all do to make sure that we can all book our holidays and our breaks that we're so looking forward to at the moment with confidence. So that's why I'm delighted to be joined by Helen Chambers today. And Helen is going to talk with us about all things travel insurance. Welcome, Helen.
Hello.
Hi, Helen. So glad to have you here. Do you want to just let everybody know, who you are and what you do?
Yes, I have worked in travel insurance now for I think coming up to about 4 years. So I work in CYTI and I look after the travel insurance proposition for brands such as Money Supermarket, Travel Supermarket, and Medical Travel Compared.
Fantastic. So I'm sure lots of us are going to be really familiar with buying travel insurance through some of those big brands and sort of comparing policies. But the world's changed. I'm sure you've seen this in the travel insurance industry, and so many more of us now maybe aren't getting on a plane this year to go on holiday, but thinking about staying in the UK. So should we be thinking about travel insurance for UK breaks, do you think?
Definitely. I know there's a lot of cover out there being offered in terms of you can cancel your accommodation, right up until the last minute in some cases, but there are definitely scenarios where people won't be covered if they have to isolate, for example, or if the person that they're staying with has to isolate. We're in a whole new world where this isn't really ever been written into policy documents before, because it's never been something that crops up. But there's I guess from the brands that we look after, there's maybe 45 brands, more than half of those will offer you cover if you need to isolate and you need to cancel your holiday for that.
Fantastic. So not everybody has the same policies, but we certainly have a policy that if somebody books a holiday with us and then they're locked down at their home address or we can't open, that we will offer them a refund or we'll offer them to move their dates, whichever they prefer. But actually taking a travel insurance policy could cover you if you have to self-isolate as well. That's the case, yeah?
Yeah, if you have to self-isolate, or if you get, if you're ill and you can't travel, obviously that isn't something that you guys would be able to cover. But, nobody expects to get ill, the person they're traveling with to get ill, a close relative to get ill, or worse. And then, you can't travel, then it's definitely really good to have that peace of mind that you'll be able to get cover.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're hoping that everyone's going to be happy and healthy and able to travel this year. But having that extra peace of mind might be really comforting to a lot of people. I know I certainly last year had an annual travel insurance policy and sort of didn't really think about then where I went. It was a worldwide policy. It covered me for lots of different things, skiing and that sort of stuff. Now this year I've cancelled that policy because I'm not expecting to travel outside of the UK. So are there policies that we can get just for UK breaks?
Definitely. I think not so much an annual policy. So that I think there's a couple out there that will do a UK annual policy, but they're few and far between. And what the provider's saying to us is it's better value for money if you buy a single trip that is just covered for the UK. There's normally a minimum amount of nights that you need to stay away. It's normally about 2, and you need to have something pre-booked, either the accommodation or the flights or your transport, ferry or a train. But 2 nights is normally a minimum, but some don't have a minimum at all. So single trip is definitely your best value for money, unless you know that you're going to go away 3 or 4 times in the UK. But so then an annual might be the right level of cover, but most people won't fit that many holidays in this year. I wouldn't, or can't plan for that, certainly. So many people are falling off their annual, and unless you have one with your bank account. So there's obviously some bank accounts that do come with free travel insurance. Certainly check that first, because if you get that, then you should definitely be covered. But there may be a minimum night threshold.
Excellent. And we always say when somebody books a breakaway with us, we always say book your travel insurance as soon as you can. Is that good advice, or when should we be taking out travel insurance?
Certainly, I think because when we go away abroad, we're normally buying it to cover the medical element. I think most of us, that's the way we think. We, if we get ill while we're away, it could cost, hundreds of thousands in some cases. So, we definitely want to make sure that's covered, because that's the biggest amount. But, the same amount of people claim on cancellation as they do on medical, and many people miss out because they don't book until the last minute. We see around 38% of people don't book until the day or the day before they're going away. On a UK policy, the main reason that people claim, is cancellation. So you really want to book it as soon as you book your trip. You want that cover in place, because you don't know, what's going to happen between the day that you book and the day that you're traveling, and that's the bit that you really want coverage for.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned cancellation cover there. So taking out your insurance policy as early as possible sounds like it's really good advice. What else should we be looking for in a UK travel insurance policy if we're going away this year?
So I would definitely make sure that the policy covers for the amount of days that you're staying, making sure that it covers you for personal liability and personal accident. So some policies don't cover that within the UK, but it would always be good to just have that. It's a very small amount of people actually would claim on it, and you may be covered on your motor insurance policy as well, but it's good to just get as much coverage as you can. The second biggest reason that people claim on a UK policy is baggage. So
really,
yeah, and that really surprised me actually. So talking to our providers, they said people don't really think about the baggage when they're going abroad. They think it's not going to come off the plane, etc. Although some people do get take baggage on planes in the UK. It's not as big. I wouldn't have thought people losing their luggage, but it's things like you leave a bag on the train, you put it up on the rack and you leave it there. And then the other reason, I guess, is that a lot of people will pile up their car to go away in the UK. They'll fill everything up. They take their bikes on the back, and they won't think about the limits that you may think about when you go away elsewhere. And accommodation when you're away in the UK, unfortunately, can get broken into as well. And you can just lose your things as you're out and about. So baggage definitely is something that you should make sure that the amount of baggage that you're taking away, you've got that amount of coverage.
Great. And especially for gadgets and bikes and all of those sorts of things, which maybe some of
think about the type of holiday that you're going on, and the amount, and if you're going on a golf holiday, think about getting cover for those golf for that golf equipment, or you really think about the activities that you're going to do.
Absolutely. Bit windy here today for golf, unfortunately. So what about the cost of travel insurance? You mentioned that you're the business behind so many of the price comparison sites. So should we be shopping around for travel insurance, or?
Definitely. I mean, I hope that you would find UK policies cheaper than if you were going abroad, because the insurer doesn't have to pay for the risk of that medical element. So you should find it cheaper to get a UK policy. I would say I was surprised recently. We've just booked our UK holiday to Cornwall, as I think half of the UK has. And I was surprised. I booked through a very well-known cottage company within the UK. I was surprised at the level of the amount of that they were charging for insurance for that week in that cottage.
Right.
And so I did, obviously, because of where I work, I then had a look on comparison sites to find out what price I could get it for. It was about a quarter of the price that I would have paid had I added it onto my basket really when I booked. So I think definitely good to shop around, make sure that the cover that you're being offered within your journey when you're booking an accommodation, make sure that if that's the way that you want to do it, it's got the same coverage that you would have if you bought a standalone policy, I'd say. And definitely have a think about what you're doing on your trip, and therefore what cover you might need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people who come here, they do sports like downhill mountain biking, and they go off trail running and paddleboarding and those sorts of things. So making sure that a policy that you take is going to be adequate for the sorts of activities that you're going to be doing while you're away, I guess is also really important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
That sounds fun. I want to do
You need to come to Wales next time, Helen. It would be
when I'm
very,
out at the border. I will be there.
fantastic. Any other words of wisdom before we wrap up, Helen? Anything else we should be thinking about in terms of travel insurance or UK breaks?
Oh, really wish I'd had thought of something really profound to say now. I would just say, I guess the advice that you gave, just as soon as you book your accommodation or your travel, I would say book your cover then. You have got, everybody's got a 14-day cooling off period. So if you find it cheaper elsewhere, or if you change your mind about traveling, you've got that 2 weeks to really think about, is that cover right for me, and you can cancel it with no admin fees, etc. But I would really say shop around and try and book as soon as you have booked your accommodation.
Excellent. Well, have a wonderful time in Cornwall, Helen. Look forward to hearing all about it, and thanks so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Okay, thank you.